Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
So thank you, Jana, and welcome to the Double R Show. We've got an interesting program again today. We're going to talk about replenishing.
Yeah, replenishing the ranks. So we've got the Alaka Alliance we're going to be talking with.
Which is?
Alaka is the Chinook jargon word, the trade language word of Native peoples in this area. And Alaka means sea otter. So the Alaka Alliance is an organization, as we'll find out from Chanel, about helping to seek to restore sea otters here on the Oregon coast.
Restoring sea otters. We also have another topic.
Yeah, we're going to be talking with Dr. Ogden and talking about restoring the ranks of physicians on the Oregon coast.
Which is desperately needed.
Yes, indeed.
And last but not least.
And lastly, we're going to talk with an old rank and file from the old planning department. Richard Townsend is going to be on the program.
And Heather Hatton's going to join us as well. We'll do that and more right after this.
Get ready for a night of non-stop fun.
Here she comes now, say morning, morning.
With Tommy James and the Shondells.
My baby does that thing. My baby does that.
Saturday, August 24th, Chinook Winds Casino Resort.
I think we're alone now.
A lifetime of hits. All the million sellers. All the number ones.
It's the good persuasion.
With the legendary Tommy James and the Shondells. Reserve seats on sale now at ChinookWinds.com, Chinook Winds box office, or by phone at 1-888-MAIN-ACT. There's more at TommyJames.com. Saturday, August 24th, Chinook Winds Casino Resort. Don't miss Tommy James and the Shondells live. Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
Interesting topic, restoring the lost and found of a legacy of Oregon. Chanel Haston is with us. And Chanel, we're talking about sea otters.
Yes, we are.
We have lost them?
Well, we didn't lose them. We hunted them
To a near extinction.
to local extinction in Oregon, to be specific.
So what are we doing to regenerate that lost legacy?
So the Alaka Alliance is a nonprofit here in Oregon. Alaka is a native word for sea otter. So I like to say boom shaka Alaka for people to remember our name, because doesn't just roll off the tongue. And so we were created by a Siletz tribal member, the late David Hatch. And so he was actually building a boat with his son, Peter, came across the word Alaka in a Chinook jargon dictionary, and then started to question what happened to Oregon sea otters and why it was really important to bring them back. And so his legacy lives on through the nonprofit Alaka Alliance, and we have an incredible board of directors and now 3 full-time staff that are working to help educate the public, fund research projects, and work towards bringing sea otters back to the Oregon coast.
3 full-time staff, really? Doing what?
So I was the first ever employee 2 years ago as Director of Outreach and Community Relations, and we have an Executive Director, Jane Beccari. She is based in Portland, and then we have a Coastal Community Coordinator down on the South Coast near Coos Bay, Kyle Motley.
And what's the reception from the community?
Mostly really positive. I mean, they are charismatic animals, so that is helpful for us because everyone associates their cute faces based on TV shows on Nat Geo or something like that, or seeing them for themselves down off of the California coast or in Washington or Alaska. But yeah, mostly positive. Most times people don't realize that we don't have sea otters on the Oregon coast. So it's really great to get out and engage with the public one-on-one and inform them why it's so important to restore them back on the Oregon coast for cultural significance, ecological, and economic.
For economic purposes, like
ecotourism.
Okay.
Yeah, we just funded a South Coast tourism study that suggested a $3.5 million income per year just to bring sea otters back to the Oregon coast and people coming to see them. Mm-hmm.
$3.5 million turnaround in the economy to sea otters.
Yes. People love wildlife.
Well, I would have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing? How are you restoring them?
So it's not us who would do the actual translocation of sea otters. That would be the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service because they are a marine protected mammal. And so what we are doing is a lot of the grassroots advocacy. So that's we're going out and engaging with the public, educating them. We're also funding different research projects to kind of help better the U.S. Fish and Wildlife decision to do a reintroduction. And then we're also working with all the tribal entities on the coast. So they are really the ones, hopefully in the future, to take on this whole initiative.
So it has been the tribes that have been in the forefront of this?
So we have 2 tribes on our board currently, the Siletz tribe and the Siti-Klusi, the Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw Indians. We work closely with the Coquel tribe as well, but we have letters of approval from every coastal tribes to do a sea otter reintroduction. And actually, just recently, Siletz and Siti-Klusi tribes sent a letter to Senator of the Interior, Deb Haaland, to ask her politely to do a sea otter reintroduction in Oregon because it is super important to them significantly as a cultural species.
Is it primarily political advocacy that you're doing at this point in time then?
No, we are kind of just starting to ramp that up a little bit behind the scenes. But that is an important part once we get closer to a potential reintroduction to be put on the table by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
So you're funded how?
By the people.
Okay.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so we get by through individual donations, through corporate donations, businesses, foundations. We don't have like a sole entity that is funding us. We write a lot of grants. I'll say that, or Jane does, my executive director. And so, yeah, we're doing well though.
Doing well in income or in exposure?
All of the
both.
above.
Okay.
Yeah. But, we are a nonprofit and small, so we do need help from the general public in terms of just spreading awareness about sea otters not being on the Oregon coast and what happened to them. And our kelp forests in Oregon, right now, we've lost about 2/3 of our original kelp forests due to different factors, including climate change and also the sea urchins, which eat kelp. Right now don't have their top predators in the ecosystem, so everything's out of balance. So they're basically overpopulating and eating all the kelp forest, which is the foundation for that entire ecosystem for thousands of species. So if we don't do something now, it could be super detrimental to everyone on the coast and inland, the whole Oregon state.
Not good to mess with Mother Nature, is it?
No, it's not.
It can come back and bite you, and in this instance, it has. How many pairs would you like to see reintroduced on the Central Oregon coast?
So we published a feasibility study in 2022 with basically the top 6 sea otter scientists of the world, and they stated that it is feasible to do a reintroduction. Dr. Tim Tinker, created an ORSO model, which is basically a lot of beautiful statistics where you can enter the number of sea otters you would like in a location on the Oregon coast between males and females, and then it shows their potential positive outcome of how they would survive. And so based on that, it's probably around 50 or so sea otters in one location.
Again, if people want more information, want to become involved, we do what?
You can visit our website, which can be found at OregonSeaOtters.org if you don't know how to spell Alaka Alliance. And we're on all the social media platforms at Alaka Alliance. I run all of that, so hopefully I'll see an uptick of numbers once you listen to this show. But find us on there. We also have a really wonderful YouTube channel if you really want to dive deep into our previous webinars and seminars.
It's an animal that everybody seems to want to see and touch and hear about, is it not, Chanel?
Yes, it is a great poster child, but they're also really significant for our coastal ecosystems as a keystone species, keeping everything in balance. So we're very happy that they are very cute and charismatic looking, but also they're so much more than just a pretty face.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries.
The best compliment we hear is the food was great and the service was fun. Adina Zeller here. I am proud of our family traditions in serving food, family style, and doing it with a smile. Enjoy dining out at Zeller's, Lincoln City, and Rose Lodge.
There are new doctors in the house, if you will. With us is Dr. Leslie Ogden from Samaritan North Lincoln Hospital. You have a number of new residents here in Lincoln City.
Well, they are in Lincoln City, and they are all over Lincoln County.
And they're coming from?
Well, all over the United States, and
Really?
in some cases the world, actually. What we started, we had a dream many years ago, and thanks to funding from both the state and the federal government, we were able to apply for and start a family medicine rural residency track training program. So this is to take doctors that have graduated from medical school and train them in the specialty area of rural family medicine.
And it really is totally different than the big city.
It really is totally different than the big city. The depth and breadth of the things that doctors see in rural areas and the expectation that they will be able to handle, right? That you don't always have a specialist at your elbow in a rural area. And so even though we're very spoiled in a lot of ways and we have a lot more specialty care than I can even name sometimes in our area, it is a different practice of medicine in a rural setting.
Now, you have 9 new residents throughout Lincoln County. Is that what it is?
Well, they're not all new to us, so
Okay.
let me
All right.
explain how it works. So we started 2 years ago, we started the program, and we had our first 3 residents start with us, Dr. Rice, Dr. Boyke, and Dr. Al-Jaziri. They've gone through 2 years of the program. It's a 3-year program in total. They are starting their postgraduate year 3, they're PGY 3s, and this will be the last year of their training. And likewise, we are starting our first group of second years are coming through, and I shouldn't say first group because actually the first 3 finished up their second year. So this is the second group of second years coming through, and then likewise we have 3 coming in as interns. So all together, it's 9 residents that we're training. It's just the first year they train in Corvallis, Portland, and some of the bigger markets around, trying to get a lot of volume. But then their second and third year, they train in Lincoln County specifically to make sure that they have the training in rural family medicine that we want them to have.
How do you attract a doctor into rural family medicine?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think a lot of it is by the reputation of the program actually out of Corvallis. That has been going for many, many years. But there aren't that many rural family medicine training programs in the United States. Even in our own state, there is a program in Klamath Falls, there's our program, and then there's a startup program in Redmond. And that's it for rural family medicine. So if someone is searching for us, they are finding us, and we are very competitive because there's just not that many programs.
You really go out onto the market soliciting, seeking these people to come to the rural hospitals.
Absolutely. We interview tons of different applicants, and we decide the ones that are best for us. Absolutely.
What do you look for in that applicant?
Well, first of all, we look for somebody who's truly interested in rural emergency medicine, right? And you would think that would self-select, but, you've just got to make sure that that's really what people are looking for, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to train a bunch of people who end up going into another specialty or doing something different. We really want them to be invested in rural family medicine and stay in rural family medicine.
And stay here.
And stay here. You got it. Because there's not a requirement that once they finish their training, they stay here. But they are being trained in rural family medicine, and we will have rural family medicine jobs for them when they finish. So the hope is that the majority of them stay, and that if we can graduate 3 every year, so after next year, those 3 will graduate, and then 3 after that, and 3 after that, every year, if we can graduate 3 rural family medicine physicians, that we can save ourselves from the shortage of physicians that is happening to us right now.
What kind of position are we in right now as far as the need for more doctors?
We are in a situation where, as our older doctors are retiring, and many of them are or have been, over the past few years, we are struggling to find replacement physicians for them. There are other types of providers, and thank goodness, right? There are nurse practitioners and PAs, but there are just not the number of physicians that we need to take care of all of us across the United States. So we are really hoping that this training program puts them in our backyard. It puts them where they're comfortable with us, where they know our patients because they're their patients as well, and it will make them want to stay with us.
I would have to think that they become invested in that patient after a course of 3 years of dealing with that person.
Yes, and that is part of the hope and part of how the programs are set up to encourage just that.
So 9, that's a lot of bodies. That's a lot of medical professionals put into the mix here in Lincoln County, or is it the entire Samaritan system?
No, it is just that first year where they spend in Corvallis, but the remainder, so the 6 that are within their second year or third year are training here in Lincoln County exclusively, and it is really amazing. They are based out of Pacific Communities Hospital in Newport, because that's where we had the space to, we didn't know when we built these hospitals that we were actually going to need that amount of space. It is required by the graduate medical education powers that be, but it makes sense. They need space for their didactics to do all of the work that they do, and they need clinic space, right, to see patients. So we've set them up in Newport, but they actually rotate all around Lincoln County, and we'll see them increasingly in so many different places because there'll be 6 of them all around us.
In our hospitals.
In our hospitals.
With us, Dr. Leslie Ogden, Samaritan North Lincoln Hospital. Back in a moment.
We at La Roca are proud of our food, but don't take our word for it. Read the reviews. One person wrote, "The service was friendly and efficient." Another writes, "La Roca has become one of our favorites because it's authentic Mexican food."
It truly is better at the beach. With me is Heather Hatton. And Heather, this weekend, it's car extraordinaire.
Yeah, there's, classic cars, and we got the sound off, of course, again, and we're excited about it.
Now, the Classic Car Show is Saturday.
Mm-hmm. It's all day Saturday, and you can register from 8 to 11 a.m., and you'll register directly with the Angels Anonymous crew that is helping us out, and all the net proceeds are going to go to Angels Anonymous. And then the next day is our sound off, and there's a big raffle that happens on sound off.
It's huge.
Day. It's really, really big, and we don't even contribute the raffle items. It's all contributed by the sponsors of that event, and they just love contributing to Angels Anonymous. They've really become good friends, with
absolutely.
A lot of you guys know them so well, and it's fun to see John Baird and, Jim and you and everybody down there.
It's amazing to me. I've never seen so many $100 bills come into one booth in my life.
And mostly from out of town participants.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah, and you see these kids run up and wanting to win stuff, and it's just it's a family event. And so obviously over the years, we've gotten some flack for the Sunday sound off because it is loud and we get it. And I mean, I work in marketing and I understand. But, it's almost like that. It's a Wonderful Life. Every time you hear a bell ring, and, an angel gets its wings. And I feel like every time you hear the sound off and, angels are getting money. And
a lot of money.
A lot of money. It's over $25,000, I think, last year is what we raised. And we didn't raise it. I mean, we provide the opportunity. We provide the venue and we provide the conduit for that fundraising. But really, Angels does the work of selling it, being there all day. John with his headphones on, because it's so loud. And so, you guys do the work and we really appreciate that partnership. When we did Beach Pickin' and Brews, we appreciate the partnership with all the charities, the chamber that organizes all those charities, our picnic event where we donated, we raised $2,000. Our team members raised $2,000 for North Lincoln Fire Volunteer. And then we reached out to the Children's Advocacy Center who came and helped clean up. And we couldn't do a lot of our events without that partnership.
Quickly, we've got just a short period of time. Upcoming concerts would include?
Tommy Jane, right? What is it? Tommy Jones?
Tommy James and the Shondells.
Tommy James and the Shondells. I had it all pulled up, and I'm really excited about them. And then the other ones is the Black Rabbit Beatles tribute. So Tommy James and the Shondells.
You're not old enough.
I'm not. I am. 24th. And then the 31st is the Black Rabbit Beatles tribute. And then we've also got Celebration of Honor coming up.
Heather Hatton, Chinook Winds Casino Resort. It is better at the beach.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call. 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service. Talking with Richard Townsend, Planning Projects Manager, City of Lincoln City. You have that title, but you have been the planning director on again, off again for 410 years.
No, just 20 years.
Just 20.
And 3 times.
Third time was charm?
Well, the third time's over, so
it was charming.
Now,
is Planning Projects Manager, what's that all about?
There's a series of projects that I'm working on that are sort of a little bit outside the main part of what the planning department does or take up a lot of time. And so I've got the time to work on them, so I'm working on them. One of the biggest is the Villages at Cascade Head property, where there was so many conditions of approval that were originally applied, first in the original master plan back in 1998, and then in the refined master plan, and then in the individual plans for the various what they call blocks of land up there. Around 200 conditions of approval, and several of them ended up being pretty onerous and ended up really deterring anybody from developing up there.
So when you're talking about those many stumbling blocks in some instances, how do you get rid of them?
Well, it would require a hearing at the Planning Commission, and they would have to just adopt the change to the master plan. So that's what I'm working towards. And there'll be a public hearing, public notice, and at a meeting at the Planning Commission, and they'll make a decision.
It would seem to me that a lot of people would sit in the background and say, well, Richard Townsend's working for the city. Why would he want to be getting rid of these line items, if you will, instead of not putting more on?
Well, the conditions that we're thinking of really didn't help anything very much. There was a whole series of them related to something called the Environmental Compliance Officer, which the developer was supposed to have. They did have it once, and all that person did was try to figure out, because they were an employee of the developer, they would try to figure out ways around the rules rather than trying to enforce the rules. And a number of the rules, as I've said, were onerous and really didn't accomplish much. It was sort of window dressing type stuff that sometimes when a developer wants to do something fairly controversial, they'll throw in all these things. I'm willing to do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. and to sort of make it seem like, oh, this is a great project. And it ends up, when a different developer comes in or something, ends up being a project for them. Like right now, of the village's property, the city owns most of it, but there's a lot that the city doesn't own. And the parts that the city doesn't own that are privately owned are for sale, but they're not moving. And one of the big reasons behind that is these conditions of approval.
Would the same thing hold true for parcels that the city would be wanting to sell as well, correct?
To some extent, yeah. It affects all the property owners. So it certainly affects the city, which it may sound like there's a conflict here, but what we're trying to do is, rather than just have that land be sitting, as it's, it got approval in 1998. That's 26 years ago. To me, that's pretty much the definition of a failed development. If of the 1,829 units that were approved for it, 12 have been built. So there's something wrong, and we're trying to fix that.
In all of the years that you've been involved with that project, you've seen it all, have you not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got a long history with it because, like I said, it was approved in 98. I first started working for the city at the end of 99. So I've sort of seen it all the way through and seen what's happened. It's been an interesting saga to see how it's come and gone, and how the recession affected it, and those kinds of things. So.
What are we seeing now? Is there activity happening? Are there people looking at it, or is it something you can't say anything about?
The only thing that's happening, and sort of in a way isn't happening, is the city, on two pieces of the city land, we have exclusive negotiating agreements in effect. One is what we call Fernwood, which is, you see that sort of horse-shaped, sort of roughed-in road. We're negotiating with someone about residential development there. And that's all still going on. It has been for some time. And then there's another piece where we're working with someone on what we'll call sort of neighborhood scale commercial development in there.
So the entire project does not have to be taken over by one individual. It's broken up in several different parcels.
That's right. Yeah, there's when it was first approved, there were several blocks, and there was Block A, Block B, Block C. I know it goes up through at least Block O. There's lots of blocks. The city owns most of them, but there's some that it doesn't. And actually, the tribe owns 50 acres of the property up there, too, that the original developer transferred to them for expansion of the golf course many years ago. But I'm not sure I actually have no idea what the tribe's plans is for that land.
Easy to say, or can it be said, you are eliminating some of the stumbling blocks?
That's what I would say. That's what we're trying to do. And obviously, it's going to be the Planning Commission makes the decision on that. It's not me. It's the Planning Commission will vote on that after a public hearing.
Bob's Beach Books in the Ocean Lake area of Lincoln City does in fact have what you'll want to read. I'm Diana Portwood, and if we happen to be out of a particular bestseller, in a day or two we'll have it back in the store waiting for you. Bob's Beach Books, so you can join the conversation.
Well, our mayor continues to listen, Paul, Mayor Susan Watkey, because she wins again.
She wins again, and she wins a $30 gift certificate.
A $30 gift certificate from Chinook Winds Casino Resort. Good at any of the food outlets, or she can just use it all at the buffet.
And she won that for answering the question about the salmon sculpture at the end of 51st Street, right?
And the question was, who crafted it? And the answer is?
Mr. Frank Boyden, who was also on the last episode. So if you didn't hear last week's episode, tune in. Hear a little bit from Frank and all about Siletz Bay.
Okay, and coming up, we would like to remind everybody the 30th annual Stuff-A-Bus is going to be Friday, August 30th, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning right here in Lincoln City, up at Lincoln City Outlets. You can pick up bags with lists of needed school supplies from a host of businesses around the North Lincoln County area, and fill it up and bring it back and help us help the children of North Lincoln County. 2024 Lincoln City Police Citizens Academy is coming up September 3rd. I think next week we're going to have more information about that.
Yeah, Tammy Williams is going to be on, and she'll give everybody the down low about how to sign up for that event.
Lincoln City Chamber of Commerce will be meeting next Tuesday, I believe it is, and they invite you to become an ambassador. Join in shaping the future as the Chamber Ambassador. They're on the lookout for individuals who are eager to lead and charge. And again, for more information, contact the Lincoln City Chamber of Commerce. Other activities city-wise upcoming. Planning Commission meets Tuesday, August 20th, 6 o'clock. On Wednesday, the 21st, Parks and Recreation Board. Sustainability Committee, August 22nd. And the City Council, Mayor Susan Waukee leading that charge, if you will, on the 26th of August, again at 6 o'clock. Veterans have an opportunity for a free soup and sandwich luncheon. I have not attended this. I have been told it is one of the best soup and sandwich bars any place, anywhere, and it's free for all vets.
Yeah, and I think every week it's a different soup. I think she was saying that she hasn't repeated that soup recipe once yet.
No, twice a month, second and fourth Wednesdays, noon to 2, at the Elks Lodge that's just up the street from Bimart. Third annual family picnic for the North Lincoln District of Lodges is going to be taking place again for the Elks Lodge on Sunday, August the 25th. And let's see, what else do we have to report on?
Yeah, well, on Saturday, August 24th is Creatures of the Coast. It's a Gyotaku nature printing workshop that the Cascade Head Biosphère Collaborative is putting on. Just go to cascadehead.org to register. And there's even discounted prices for family of 4. So get in there and get your registration. It's Saturday, August 24th from 11 to 1:30 at the Pelican Brewing on Sled Space.
That's always a fun time, and it sells out.
It does, yeah. It's a really popular workshop, and it's a great way to enjoy the bay as well and make some art to take home for your memories of the Oregon coast.
And hand it down to generation after generation. And again, anything else your side of the table?
I think we're clear from here.
And that'll do to the doings on a Double R show. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, so you, your family, and friends around the world and across the street can join us right here on the Double R show. For Paul and Jenna, I am Double R. Have yourself a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grawn.